Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Before I begin, I'd also like to congratulate Nicole and Devon on your induction. I think all of our men's team here is proud to be inducted on the same night as two of Felician's most excellent athletes. So congratulations to the two of you. And I wanted to echo some of the things that Dr. Prisco mentioned in her opening speech. I think all of us, and I think I'm in a room of sports fans. I think I got that right. I think all of us, when we read the news of the last few days about college athletics, we're basically saddened by what happened. How fortunate we are, I think, tonight to come to a place where we can celebrate what's right about college athletics. And I think that, Dr. Prisco, you said. Dr. Prisco, you had mentioned you don't know what to say to a group of people in college athletics, right, literally on the eve of after something like that happens. And I agree with you. So I think that tonight, as we go through our speeches and we hear our student athletes, and as you're introduced to something you may not know, and get reacquainted with ones that you do know, I think that really our student athletes will speak to you. We don't really have to say anything to them. So when you hear about the people and Felician College, Felician University, I was a Felician College guy, my fault, is that you'll find that they'll do all the talking for us, and we don't have to look at those kind of headlines and see that kind of stuff, and we know what's really there. Most of the world doesn't see that, but we get to come to a place like this with people like this and see what this is really all about. So I was certainly proud to be a part of Felician University when I was here, and I'm very proud of my team. So without further ado, I'd like to talk a little about my team and what they've accomplished. This was the 2007 men's cross-country team, and I can give you some accomplishments, and you don't even need me to do that because you can read it right in your program, but they were the CACC champions. They had all 7 of their top runners made the all-conference team. They had the individual winner, which was Paul Chadwick, and they also had the Rookie of the Year, which is the highest placing freshman in the meet or newcomer to the conference, and that was a gentleman named Jay Rogers. They were inducted into the CACC Hall of Fame, and they also have an individual member in Hall as well in the Felician Hall of Fame. So their accomplishments are obviously undisputed. That's obvious. It's right there. It's on paper, and you didn't actually need me to come up here and tell you about that. You could have read that anywhere you wanted to. But what you do need me to come up here and tell you about, what I'm really going to tell you about, is the people that they are. At Felician, and I remember when we would recruit athletes to Felician, we would always tell them, we would say, you're coming to a Franciscan university, and at a Franciscan university, there's a little more expected of you. It's expected that you give back to people in the community, that you take on a role when you leave here as leaders in the community that give back. And we would say, some of you will go into occupations that naturally that happens. You might become a nurse, a teacher, a social worker, whatever that happens to be. Those are all natural give back occupations. The occupation does it for you. But even if you make $1 million in business somewhere, what are you doing for people who are less fortunate than you? What are you doing for those people out there that need your help? You were fortunate enough and you were blessed enough to come to Felician and to be what you are today. So when you leave, make sure you give back. Okay? And that's something that we always try to instill in our athletes when they were with us. And certainly, we wanted to make that clear to anyone coming here that was going to be an expectation of them as they were coming here. You can also read in your program, if you chose to, Felician's athletic mission statement. But I think that there is an old quote. If you can Google it. You can Google anything nowadays, obviously. For those of you that are older, you can appreciate that. Now we can Google anything. And this is actually a quote about athletics from a famous American general, General Douglas MacArthur. And I guess the old history teacher in me likes to kind of go back to this quote. And I know that if you've been to any of these things, I've certainly used this quote before, so I'm going to use it again. And he spoke about, and he was speaking about West Point athletes, of course. And he said, on the fields of friendly strife are sown the seeds that on other days, on other fields, will bear the fruits of victory. Now, he was talking about West Point soldiers in athletics, and the other fields on other days were going to be the fields of war, obviously. Now, we're not preparing soldiers here at Felician. It's not what we do. We might have military people, but our mission is not to prepare soldiers. Our other fields on other days are going to be where these in my case, these gentlemen ended up in life and what they're doing in life. And if you take a look at our team, we have Mike Berghofer here. Mike Mike's heavily involved in STEM education. He has a company that actually, basically promotes, trains, and equips schools with STEM education. We have one of our members, John. John is he's a marketing guy for Capital One Banks, if I believe I got that right. So he's out there in the banking field. He's obviously making money, but he's a guy that gives back to his community. I know he's been involved in a lot of charitable type works. Paul is a teacher and a coach, and one of those occupations that naturally gives back. Juan is well, he originally began actually as a nurse, and now he's on the administrative side of nursing. And he's also a coach as well. And we have Alex, who's a police officer. Right? So I think that if you look at the other fields on other days, Felicia did a great job of preparing our guys for those other fields on other days, which is really the mission of Felician College and really the mission of athletics here at Felician. So these guys have given back to their community. I couldn't be more proud of them as a coach of their team. I also, of course, would be completely remiss if I didn't thank Sebastian Powell, who was our assistant coach at the time. And I use the term assistant coach really in quotes. We were basically co-head coaches. We basically worked together. There was no, I get together and give the speech, but he could do the same thing right here and say the same exact stuff. So, it's my honor to haul each of them up here. If you guys come up here and join me up on the podium. It is also now, I would like to invite Dr. Prisco to the podium to formally induct the 2007 men's cross-country team into the Hall of Fame.
Gentlemen, it is my pleasure to induct the 2007 men's cross-country team. Nicole, no, not Nicole yet. Into the Athletics Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
And speaking on behalf of our team is Alex Wright.
I don't know how I'm going to follow two great public speakers like that. I'll try my best. First and foremost, I'm very proud to be a graduate of Felician. And if I call it Felician College, I'm sorry. I was a graduate of Felician College. I understand it's Felician University, and it has many accomplishments. 16 master's programs, 3 doctorate programs. I'm very impressed and very proud of Felician. But if I call it Felician College, I'm sorry. And I'm not going to match up to Coach Brennan's speech because he used historical quotes. And he was a historical teacher. I don't have that. But I'm very proud of the guys I'm up here with today, the guys who aren't here. Chris Harvey, Brad Cheppis, Brian McDonald, who's actually traveling the world, talk about the Felician way, traveling the world, building communities, teaching kids, and giving back as much as he can. Took a year off of school to do that. Jeremy Rogers, and there's a couple more of them. Dan Cugini, who actually became one of our best managers after he retired from running his freshman year of college. Very good friend of mine. But about Felician, actually 4 out of the 5 of us came up here at the same time. Paul Chegwin, Mike Berghofer, and myself actually all have known each other since we were 5 years old. We went kindergarten all the way through grammar school into high school. They were runners ahead of time. I figured it out later on. But we all ran together. We were all successful. But we had that one issue. We were always the bridesmaid, never the bride. We were second, never first. We were in Sussex County, we had Pope John. Pope John was great. We tried our hardest, we couldn't get there. Jonathan Castro was with Tom's River, great 800 runner. Got a little wet with cross country, became a great cross country runner. Wanted to enhance himself. We got brought to Felician College that the year before we started, in 2003, was second by how many points? It was like within 5 points.
Yeah, he was right.
So we got brought to Felician and told we were 5 points away. And if we bring any of you here, we think that 5 points is gone. And we can get this as a team. And sure enough, I think you got 6 of us that year. Probably more than you expected. But we came because we wanted that team atmosphere. We wanted to bring Felician to that next level. And I know many of you don't realize it, but cross country is quite a team sport. And you think, oh yeah, you just go from a run, you start at point A, you finish at point B. But there's strategy. And at no point was it more obvious than in 2007, which was many of these guys' senior year, my junior year because I got injured my freshman year. Other than Paul, who had a phenomenal year and was our by far #1 runner, and I was so proud when he was able to win a conference championship, and he deserves to be a Hall of Famer. But from 2 to 9, we had 11 runners that year. Probably from runner 2 to runner 9 could have been any runner at any time. You could have plugged probably any runner we had that year into the team, and I think they could have been all conference. Because we had that team aspect. We motivated each other, we pushed each other, and it was just amazing. It was something I'd never experienced, and it was something I was so proud to be part of. And I'm very thankful of Felician University for acknowledging us into the Hall of Fame. Just as well as I'm very proud to be part of the first team inducted into the Central Collegiate Conference Hall of Fame. And I'd like to also congratulate Nicole and Devon. You were both there at the same time as we were. I think you were a little bit after in graduation, but it's great to be a graduate of Felician University, and I'm very proud, and I hope I spoke well for the other 10 runners that were part of this team. Thank you.